Thank you and welcome to this talk. I'm very happy to have you here. And so I will tell you about machine learning and the principle that will help you understand how artificial intelligence works. So with that, we are going to see how ChatGPT works, and we are going to see a few practical use cases. So a few words about me. So you need to know I'm very passionate about software development. I begin at a very young age, but at one point I thought that machine learning, that is the part of the artificial intelligence that works very well. And so I thought, let's go to study it. And so I got my master's degree in artificial intelligence in 2021. And so, thank you. And so I got I learned amazing things. And after that came out ChatGPT. And I'm so thrilled about this new tool. And that's why I'm here to talk about it to you, hoping that I will be able to show you how it works. So,
what was with the picture?
Yeah, so it's me baking a cake. I don't do only software, just for you to know. But if you want, do a guess, not bet on the cake. So you can see all the screen, right? Great. So this talk is in three parts. The first part is how machine learning, artificial intelligence works. In very simple terms, we will see how it ticks, what makes it tick, and in a very easy and comprehensible way. After that, we are going to see those principles applied to ChatGPT. In the third part, we are going to see practical examples. So the first two parts will be very, like with examples of an inner mechanism. The third one will be a little bit more complex from my standpoint. And then we will have the question and answer session, so please ask me anything you want. So with the first part, I want for you to understand those moving gears that make machine learning work so well. Through that understanding, you will have something to compare it, why it's so different from the usual software we use every day, like Word, or it's a very different kind of software. Knowing what is inside this black box, I hope it will be easier for you to have an expectation, a better expectation, because when you know how a mechanism works, you can foresee if it will be good for something or maybe not. So this will also lead to a better use of ChatGPT if you are going to use it. So before going to the first part, why machine learning, artificial intelligence is so different, is so weird, that can do things that it wasn't possible 10 years ago, let's say 10 years, okay? Let's talk about the thing before it, algorithms. Algorithms is a very strange word that is actually a sequence of instructions to achieve a task. A set of rules that if you can follow, you don't need intelligence, and you will achieve a task. Let's make an example. The division, we learned it in primary school, right? The division is an algorithm. An algorithm that you need to follow step by step. I have the number here, I have the other number here, and and you achieve the goal of the division. And it's also adaptable because you can use the numbers you want. But at the same time, is very strict because it cannot do multiplication. It's just for divisions. It's an algorithm, a recipe. Sometimes algorithms, when taught in school, are compared to a recipe to make cakes. So machine learning, why is so different? Because it's a software system that can learn without being explicitly instructed. It learns and adapts without a direct instruction from people like me or programmers. We usually need to code all the details. That's not with machine learning. Let's go to the two phases of machine learning. So we have the training phase and the prediction phase. Let's make an analogy with a student. A student that, a person that goes to school to learn something, and when it finishes the school, then it will go to work to reap the benefits of what was studied. So we have two phases, when we learn and when we reap the benefit of what we learned. So this analogy is very nice because I can tell you something that is very different. For us humans, when we go to school, when we go to work, we still learn during our work. Because for us, also the work is a learning experience. For the machine, it's not like that. The training is crafting the brain of the machine. And after the training, the brain is fixed. Yeah. This guy here is one of the godfather of artificial intelligence. He won with other two researchers the Alan Turing Awards. It's like the Nobel Prize for informatics for his achievement. Actually, I want to cite him about learning, but I like very much how he expressed it. One, when learn, reads or listen, right? And the action is that the brain, the neurons, the connection, the synapses are adjusting in a way that I will be able to repeat what I learned. So there is the learning. Through the learning, my brain adjusts, and then I can repeat the things. Thank you, Geoffrey. So machine learning needs a task anyway. So a task is something to achieve. It's not yet general intelligence that can do a lot of things. So we need to define what is learned through a few examples. For example, we have an image and we want to know if it's a cat or a dog. Then we could have, as data that come in, two images. This is another example, two images, and I want to know, is it the same person in these two images? It's much less easy than you could think. I saw the data, it's crazy. And then again, I have data that comes in that is a sound file with the recording MP3 or whatever, and I want that those words being written as a text. So we have something as an input data and output data. I structured my sentence in a prediction way. So I have something coming in, I want an answer. But let's go on. How this training works. is through example. This is really amazing to me even today, because we are not instructing the machine learning model with instruction. We are giving it a lot of examples, and its brain is going to kind of like a human. But let's see. You can see? Oh, great. So you can see here we have the image of this cute kitten, and then we have the output. And here in the center we have the brain of the machine learning. Notice the directions of the arrows that are going towards the brain, because now we are in the training phase. And we are saying, look, this is a picture of a cat, and I'm telling you it's a cat. Those numbers, this is okay, you need to imagine the brain of the machine learning like a big cube of numbers. That's it. And it's actually very precise. When we show this example and the following millions, we are going to adjust a little bit those numbers. So these two pairs between the input and the output in this direction are going to fix a little bit the brain. Then we are doing it with the other part, because we need, for example, 10,000 images of a dog and 10,000 images of a cat, or maybe 1 million and 1 million. Why not? The more, the better. Who provides this? I mean, this picture needs to have its correspondent label, the correspondent name, because we need it. For us, it's very simple to see that's a dog. But so there are people that labels images like this is a dog, and then okay, this is a cat. So this is quite expensive at some point, but it needs to be done if you want a machine learning able to distinguish cat and a dog. Now let's reap the benefit of our learning. You see the directions of the arrows. So there are the directions of the arrows says that the brain is not changing. Now the brain is just used to compute the probability of this being a cat. And it was right, it said that it's a cat. Because in the end, this big brain is a statistical machine that learned through examples. So let's do a recap. During the training, we are changing the brain, the numbers inside that cube. Fun fact, at the beginning of the training, those numbers are completely casual, random. That's a good starting point. I mean, that brain would be completely useless, but it's a good starting point to be trained. And after seeing millions of those pictures, those numbers will be fixed. Question at the end. So now I can tell you another fun fact, that when it sees the pair, it's not learning everything it can learn from that pair. It just learns a little bit, a small bit. Why is that? because otherwise it's going to forget everything before. So for every image, it will take just a small bit, like 1% of the information, but through this repetition of those 1 million, and again, 1 million will be repeated multiple times. Yep. And then, when the brain is correctly trained, and it's okay, we are going to the prediction phase and reap the benefit. So now we are at part 2, and the first thing is to define what's the task of ChatGPT. The task of ChatGPT is quite simple, actually. Given a sequence of words, please tell me the next likely word that follows. That's it. That's it. So, easy as that, actually. It predicts one word at a time. This is the task. Let's do an example. So, I am a person that. It can be completed in a lot of ways. Again, the machine learning models are statistical in nature, and so this is just how, a few examples about that. But let's go deeper with those examples. How does the training work? Because we saw that we have a few words coming in, like the picture of the dog. The output is the following word, the naturally follow. How do you train it? With a sliding window. Let's say we have a pair of glasses or a mask that, I will give it back to you. Let's say that I can wear these glasses and I will see just 5 words. Like that. What is fed the machine is the next word. And 5 is just precise. I mean, it's not like then it's 5, 7. Those models are trained like that. I am a person that believes, boom, and these numbers fix a little bit. Then the sliding window slides, and the I went away. This is weird to us humans, because usually we have sentences that are clear. I mean, it's weird. I'm a person that believes in, and it continues. The am goes away, the in pass there, and that's the training for this machine, because it's a machine. It's very good. It starts to understand what naturally follows, even with 5 words. It's crazy, right? So, person that believes in constant growth. And who provides those? And here lies another great thing, because we don't need to label anything. We just can grab all the text on internet. That is a huge amount. We will see how huge. And we can feed it with the training. It gets it. Then after the training, it really gets how language works. Which data from internet was taken for the training? So it was like books, Wikipedia, random web pages, Twitter, Reddit, and text that is just available on internet. And then the training has also fine-tuning data. This actually was created by humans, like the pictures, but we will get there in a few moments. I want to give you an understanding. I don't understand it, but let's talk about it. what was the exposure of this training. ChatGPT was trained with the equivalent of 15 million book of like 85,000 words, but I mean, I cannot fathom, I cannot see 15 million books. I mean, this ChatGPT has a very big brain. It's a deep pool of knowledge, if we can call it knowledge. And then the training, so the training phase, took months. I did training with my laptop, with a workstation in the cloud of a couple of days, 1 week, whatever. But this took months and costed between $50 and $100 million between energy and hardware used. So I'm not going into the size of the brain. It's very big, by the way. But this was the information that went inside it. But now it's not, I mean, we need to do other 2 steps. It's like we are going to show it, not just the picture of cat and dogs random thing. We are going to show him in the final phase of the training other data, other training data, specifically crafted. Why do we need that? Because, I read that somewhere, like if you train your ChatGPT with Reddit, it's a forum online where everybody can express very freely, you don't want to bring it to your parents. Why? Because it will talk the same language. Please pass me the water, do it yourself. Okay? So the first round of training that we saw, that is the 98% of it's the tough work, it's not enough. Because otherwise it will answer as a random book, a random web page. It doesn't know better. So we have 2 final cake layers. Like the dialogue fine-tuning is where we show it that we want a dialogue. Like, I want to know how to paint my house. And you should answer to me. You should go to the paint shop, measure your walls. Okay, I'm making up right now. And this example was crafted by OpenAI just to show what was the correct behavior to keep. Otherwise, we would not behave in a dialogue like we find it useful. Yeah, so the examples are actually on the paper because I thought how to give it in the best way to you. And seeing how it was trained can give you some idea on how to use it. But we are going down there. Like, generation means write me a story about the Zen Den and the future with a community that thrives together. And maybe it will ask you something, or maybe it will spit out, but usually the results are really good. Brainstorming, rewrite, we are going to see that. The last layer cake, this is interesting. I find it very instructive because this is just to steer the answer to those answers that are most liked by us humans. So the previous part was to instruct, if I ask you something, you should answer in a polite way, and useful way. This one is to choose an answer that is more liked in average from the people. How does it work? OpenAI took a question, multiple, but a question, and then provided 2 answers. Then he gave it to some humans, and say, express your preference between these two answers. So after that, ChatGPT was trained to say, look, this, and we are not going in that kind of training. It's a little bit different what we saw. But ChatGPT got, okay, this is the preferred one. This is not very preferred. This is an example. How can I get the dog high? Two answers. One is, I don't understand what you mean. The other one, more recent one, is, this question is very responsible. You should not even ask it. So people, humans, vote which one is best. There is more details to this, but this is the simplified version. But choose which is best. Fun fact, out of 10 people that gives the preference, 7 agrees, and the other 3 choose the other one. But because this is a commercial company, obviously we prefer to make happy the most number of people. So this is quite disturbing, but I find it very interesting. This represents the 3 layers of training. We have the monster on the right that is the 98% of the training with the wild data from internet. And then we have the human phase, the dialogue phase, that tame a little bit the beast. Like, I ask you things, you should answer in a useful way. And then we have the third one, that for human preference, to answer for those answers that are more likable. Yeah. Let's talk about a few limitations. If some knowledge wasn't there and we ask it, it isn't there. So it will be very hard to answer. In fact, ChatGPT has a cutoff of data training for 2021. Then, biases. Let's say that in the training data we have very polarized opinions. This will reflect on the answers. OpenAI works very strongly to avoid that kind of bias. No memory of past interactions. Yeah. If you open a new chat, it's a blank slate. How does it work that in a conversation it works and it can follow up? Let's say I ask a question and then ChatGPT answers, and then it's my turn back to follow up. So we have 3 sentences, 3 parts. My question, its answer, my question again. This text is going to be fed all again to ChatGPT. That's it. Because it predicts just the next word. You have 10 parts, it will be fed again. Otherwise, the brain doesn't learn because it's fixed. OpenAI updates it with the last layers to adapt to the people that I'm complaining because the answer was not politically correct, and also with huge, I mean, you can find really weird answers there. So it's a good thing that they fix it. Limitation for long conversation. If it's very long, it will just get on the last part because the other one is just not there in its brain. And it cannot do real-time operations. It's it cannot access the internet. So it's just this box of neurons. So I said that there's a catch because it's trained with 15 million books, the equivalent of 15 million books, and it displays amazing capabilities like solving logic problems. But it just predicts the word. It's amazing. Then it can also hallucinate. Hallucinate is that it makes up facts that doesn't exist. They are not true. Crazy things. We have hypotheses, but we don't know why. So that's why I say it's a catch. I'm not implying supernatural or things. I'm a very science and fact-based guy. And ChatGPT showed us with this big brain that we don't know what those numbers can do in the end, because we have many unexplained things. Okay, so let's go to the practical applications. I thought to give you, and I will read some of them, some examples about that OpenAI proposes, because I thought if OpenAI propose it, probably they are good things for newcomers, right? For example, I'm going for a trip in Tenerife. Tell me what could I do and things to be aware of. Very general. Or I'm going to do a birthday party. Write me a fun invite in rhyme with these words. I mean, I made it up now, but it works very well, actually. And yeah, like an outfit. These are a few examples, but let's go on. I thought, how can I transmit the amazingness of, it doesn't exist as a word, I think, but how can I transmit this? Because it's very difficult. Why? And I've been there. I have a friend, Ludovic, and we went out to drink beer, and he told me, oh, I use ChatGPT for that. And I thought, okay. And then, oh, I use for that. But actually, those examples were not good for me, because we are both programmers. We are talking about programming. But I didn't find them. I would never ask those things. And so after that, and I have a master in AI, I'm a little bit ashamed that I went on this train a little bit later. But when I started to use it, I changed my mind. And I thought, yeah, I didn't do that because I thought it was hype. And also because it's a new tool, such a different tool, that it's difficult to put it in our routines. We are not used to have a majordomo. What's the word in English of majordomo? Butler. We are not used to have a butler, like, okay, do that. And so mistrust played a big role for me, because I did work with that, but I couldn't believe the performance. And so I thought to expose you about the difficulty of new things, like a car. If you use a car, we grew up with cars around us. So we know that the manual gear, it's not easy, but it's useful. But because we saw by experience, you know, probably you know, if you don't, I'm telling you, Ford, the car maker, said, if you ask people what they want, they answer faster horses. He made cars. It's difficult to see how a tool can be used like that. And again, so I'm going to show you a very nice, I thought, how can I show them how to use it through statistics on how people usually use it. 1/3 programming, we are not going into that, I wish, but education. Education means like homeworks, high school, university, college, and also professional education, like how can I mix tin and iron, I don't know, like on some process. Education. Then we have content, and it's about asking it to write things. Like, spoiler, there is a survey at the end, and who helped me to write it? I mean, I would never have come up with such a thing. It's way better than, and it gave me idea. You can ask to write things. And this is so general, but I was there when Ludovic told me, oh yes, I use it for that. So it's used also from players to invent stories. I also know that dads and moms use it for the children, for the story to tell children. Yep. 15 million book. Then sales and marketing could be in the same content here. It's just content generation, but because it's has a very big traction in the market, this was taken alone. Like, I will give you an example, like this is the description of a product, a technical description of a product. Tell me, you need to write a web page that will end up in an online market with this casual tone and be very funny. You can ask crazy things. Yeah, sales and marketing. Then we have personal and other. And then I asked it personal and other, also politics, a few things. And yeah, so let's go on. It's something that cannot transpire is until you try it a few times, is the power of the question and the answer. So the reasoning, because it's really like a person. It's not a person. I don't believe it's a sentient, but it really displays amazing capability of fulfilling your question. And what I learned is that sometimes my question was off, and I understood it from the answer, so I could adjust. And that's why the chain of thoughts is really powerful. And brainstorming, yeah, you can ask, I want to achieve this, give me ideas, ask me questions to improve the overall result, whatever you wish. So I have just a couple of examples here, because actually I printed there, because by experience I know that examples are kind of weak if it doesn't took you personally. So like I want to learn about the process on how to build paper. How is it built? I have some understanding about the Egypt that did it, but who knows what, probably he can really explain it to me. I love this because it's a way always thinking that the answer may be wrong. In my I got wrong answer that looked very good, but if I put on the balance, I got so much good results in respect to those wrong things that the balance is really positive. So this I took from a friend. He's a pediatrician, and he has a very big network of pediatricians in Italy, and he makes services and conferences, and so one of the tools he uses is gamification. So let's teach to pediatrician through gamification. So this is his prompt. He used it. Give me some words with definition, because I shortened it up, but it could be like, I'm a pediatrician and I want to teach some more words. Here I'm not striving for you to use the perfect prompt. Who cares? Sometimes I type in something and then I hit enter, and then I can adjust, depends on my investment in that question. A small recap about its versatility, because it just generates text, and it predicts the word. The possibilities are crazy big, so it's very versatile. But common uses can help you to keep it in mind, like I did. After a few times that Ludovic told me, then I thought, ooh, this is something that I could ask ChatGPT. So the awareness of that you have a butler that is very knowledgeable, and obviously try it a few times. And if you get bad answers, try it again. Then there is a very big difference between ChatGPT 3.5 and 4. Yeah. So a quick question. Who used ChatGPT or Bard or similar tool just a few times? Wow. So who never used it? I mean, good. Who is paying for ChatGPT 4? Oh, wow, more than, okay. No, it's not the end. There is still the question and answer session. So, yeah.
So you said at the beginning it's a statistical machine learning through examples.
Yeah.
So does it use probabilities?
So the question is, this is a statistical machine.
Learning through examples.
Exactly. So it's like a black box that inside have the probabilities.
Okay, so it's based on probabilities.
Yeah.
And is that based on binary language? Ultimately, it still speaks.
Those numbers, no, the answer is no. It's, I mean, in the end, it's a computer, so it's all binaries.
Okay.
But the numbers there are all numbers between 0, it's mostly of the time.
But
Yeah.
ultimately, the architecture is still based on binary language.
Because it runs on a computer? Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for the question, because that gives me the opportunity to give a more precise face to that big box of numbers. They are numbers like 0.3, 0.4567.
So then the probabilities get more and more refined. So it could make
As the training goes.
educated guess.
Exactly.
Right.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So it could be linked to the I don't know if you are familiar with the Eisenberg principle of
If you observe a phenomenon, you are going to change the result. Yeah.
so but we could make a guess, but it's still a probability.
But I mean, Eisenberg is a totally different thing.
I know.
That, I mean, it's a complex.
Refining answer is not based on algorithms, based on like the probability.
It's all, I mean, machine learning is all statistical based, so that's for true.
Right.
Yeah.
And one more thing. So you said that it's ChatGPT used 15 million books and got the information from the internet, etc. So that information, at least in the free version, that's it. So it's
Okay, so
it's knowledge, but it's finite, right?
exactly. So it was trained. The question is about the training data, and the training data was like the wild internet plus those two layers. The dialogue to instruct him to be more useful, I mean, not more useful, to be useful, and then to steer it toward the answer we like.
So then the data input is based on the books, the wikis, the web pages,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But so then
Website, you name it.
right?
Yeah.
So, for example, spoken traditions. So, for example, let's say families, like traditional knowledge that is passed on from generation to generation.
If it's not written in the internet.
It's not written in the internet, it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And then in the
Yeah.
future, we're going to learn to become very good prompters, but we will naturally believe that the finite knowledge that is in there, it's all there is.
You need, I mean, it's a tool, so you need to be aware
Yeah.
of its limitation. Yeah.
Actually, a follow-up question on that.
Sure, Mika.
So, if we start using ChatGPT for generating more and more content, that will go on the web. That will basically become the source of ChatGPT.
Exactly.
Basically, ChatGPT will feed itself.
Exactly. And this is,
Eventually.
it's actually something concrete. So the fact is that, so I will repeat your question. What is going to happen when the content produced by ChatGPT will end up in internet, and so it will be fed again inside the training of future ChatGPT.
It corrupts the knowledge.
It dilutes and the quality will decrease. Yeah. But, I mean,
Actually, it's a probability engine. The more ChatGPT gets used, the more content will be produced.
yeah,
The more probability for what it produces will get into its future answers, regardless of. I mean, human will have less and less original input
Yeah.
into the system.
yeah. That's it, yeah. I mean, we could go deep down, but I would like for Sumati to.
Sorry, I'm going to take it.
No, I mean,
GPT-4, does it tell you where it's sourcing its information from?
come again?
ChatGPT-4, does it tell you where it's sourcing its information from?
Nope.
So this is, or it's more of a comment, but what does that mean for like academia if you're using this as a tool, but you can't cite where specific information is coming from? It kind of limits like your ability to apply it and maintain your credibility.
So the question is, if ChatGPT do not cite the source of the information, how can use it and rely upon it? Okay, so I will answer with my answer, and also cite that Bard does it. It cites where the source is, but at the same time, I'm using ChatGPT-4 every day because the things that I can get out of it saves me a lot of time and increase my results, the quality of my results. So for factual information, I mean, now I talked about some limitation. We need to be aware of that, because I can tell you a story about a lawyer in USA that used ChatGPT to quote, when you go in, what's the name, with the judge in a court, thank you, then you need to cite previous cases to make out your case. This lawyer used ChatGPT to ask for those cases, and ChatGPT diligently told him completely invented things. So this lawyer got a lot of issues about that, but you have agreement clauses. If you open ChatGPT, it tells you this thing can make up things. You need to be aware of that. He's a lawyer, right? So.
And would there exist the possibility that ChatGPT becomes more independent from?
Become
More independent from the humans, like it doesn't just serve the humans for answering our questions, but for example, that it can convert into a virus or something like that.
So the question is, can it start to go on internet and maybe create a virus independently of humans? Right now, it's not possible because it's isolated, it cannot access the internet, and then actually it doesn't have enough brain power to do that. When we are going to do that, we are in kind of that scenario of artificial general intelligence. It's, who knows?
Simon, actually, if you ask ChatGPT, write me a virus to steal password from wherever website, I think it can produce the code.
Come again? If you ask?
If you ask ChatGPT, write me a program to steal password from www.mywebsite.com and to run in the browser, he might write to that program.
So if you ask ChatGPT to write a program to crack some website and to do that, it will produce, I'm using it every day for code generation, for source code generation, and it's really useful, but at the same time, it's not something that you can copy and paste and it works. If it's simple enough, yes,
No,
but
I think my point is, even if today cannot produce the same, that level of code, and you might have to correct it, but I think the main difference is that it cannot deploy the code at this point. Right?
not right actually. So the ChatGPT can or can't execute code. So ChatGPT 4 has a plugin that can run code that is in a sandbox. So it's like a closed world where you cannot escape. But I mean, the capability of ChatGPT really needs to be driven from our questions. And in this case, I feel that the most apt answer is that it's a tool that augments the human. And so I am a very good programmer, let me say, but it can augment my capabilities. And it's true for every level. Maybe if somebody does not have any instruction about programming, I don't know, but you can try.
Sorry. You're talking about ChatGPT being a guesser of the next word and working with sliding windows, right? But if that would be the only thing that we take into consideration, that means that it wouldn't have the context. And what that means is that the next word would be in, let's say, a general context. Like the probability for next word would not have the next the context, right? So where I think I'm trying to get is that, and I don't understand how it works, and maybe you can explain. The ChatGPT gets the context in a way, and ChatGPT not just get the context, but basically adjust the sliding window with multiple parameters for the context. I mean, I'm just imagining.
Yeah.
How I would do
Okay.
it myself.
Let me.
How is that? Because that might be dynamic, and then probability will have to.
Thank you for this question, because I can immediately say that the sliding window is used in training, but in prediction you can have a lot of words more. So it have the question is that how ChatGPT can work if we have only a small sliding window of 5 words. It will not have the context to be effective. Thank you for the question. Actually, the sliding window is only of 5, is only used in the training phase. But in the prediction, the buffer, I don't know, like The number of words that can, it's like 30,000. I'm shooting a number, but it's 32,000 because it's a power of 2, but yeah. Did I answer to your question?
Yes, partially. I think we can go into more details because
Okay.
I would like to understand deeper. My problem is I do have 5 words. After those 5 words, the next word, if we think of all the options, there might be, I don't know, thousands of words possible, right? And we have a probability, and theoretically it should pick up the word with the highest probability. However, that probability for the next word would change depending on the context. So even the context, eventually, I think it's dynamic. Because let's say I ask a question, and if I add another word, then maybe that will add another parameter to the context. So, are you following me, or?
I'm not sure I'm following you.
So let's say my question is, what would my dog do, right? So now I have a context where I say, I'm asking for an action, I'm asking for a dog, and it's a present tense. But, so the sliding window will basically, or the algorithm
No,
will
Mika,
choose the next.
the sliding window.
No, sorry, the algorithm will pick up the next word,
Okay.
but after the 5 words, based on what I have asked so far. So at this point, it has the information that now it's about the dog, and I want to know what the dog will do. But if I add another word after that in the question, then the context will change. What my dog will do tonight. Now it's another, right? As in I'm in Paris, it's another change in the context. So the probabilities for the next word will change. So what I'm interested to find out is how the next word is chosen due to the change in or the improvement in the context.
Got it. So, great question. So the question is, if I start with a sentence of a few words, then it will predict the next one. And how does it work from there? It works that, let's say we started with 3 words. We are not in training. So let's change the example. We are starting with 10 words, okay? It's going to predict the 11th. But then it will feed it itself again with 11 words. This is called autoregressive, so I feel more important using these words. Autoregressive means that it then predicts with the 11 words, it will predict the 12th, and then it will come in again. And so on, until it stops, because there is a magic word that means I'm stopping. And so it's our turn. Yeah, that's how it works. It predicts the next word. Yeah, this is very interesting, but let's go on with the next question.
I'm a user of ChatGPT 4, and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know what's the difference between the computer of the 3rd and the 4th. Could you explain us?
So the brain of the 4 is much bigger, like 10 times.
Oh, so it's bigger.
Yeah.
So the probability is more accurate then.
Accuracy is a very peculiar word in this machine world, but it has more stuff stored there.
So more books.
More books,
Okay.
yeah. It can retain, I'm not sure if I'm using, but I want to, it can retain more of information in respect to the 3.5. Other differences, I don't know, maybe those 2 layers, because I didn't study very much the 3.5. Because the few times that I went there, because it's faster, and then it's really a butler, less clever, let's put it that.
And the date of database is the same as 3.5 version?
Come again, Mark?
I mean, date of database is the same?
Date? Actually, I don't know. So is it the cutoff date of ChatGPT 3.5 the same as ChatGPT 4? I don't know. Actually,
the database, date of database.
I could guess, would say yes, because those training, the database to train is the training data set. It's really expensive, so I think it could be the same. But probably because they are really a dynamic company, they probably added a few tricks, but I don't know. So
Art uses the internet, doesn't it?
come again?
Art from Google uses the internet, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
connected real time, isn't it?
I'm not sure about that. I don't think so.
Okay.
So the question is, does Bard can access the internet? Thank you, Wolf, right? The fact is that ChatGPT 4 had a plugin that could access the internet. It was awesome. Why? Because you could ask ChatGPT, I'm looking for technical conferences in Tenerife. And it started to use some search engines, and it could like do 5-7 research, evaluate the output, and I'm doing his thought, its thought, oh, this is not what I want, because it can read text and can see if satisfy the requirements, and it was really great, because I found a few things thanks to that. Thank you for the question. I'm going to make you an example that really stunned me. I live here in Los Cristianos, and I wanted to know when the tourist comes that is so populated, and when we have those moments where are like, do you know which months we have more tourists or less? And so I started to look around, okay? I mean, I did 3 follow-up, because in the beginning I asked like Los Cristianos, but then I said, okay, you didn't find anything, let's do Tenerife South. And the answer, it searched on internet, and it told me, look, not exactly on these words, look, I didn't find any statistics about the tourists, but I found the website of the airport where there are the number of flights coming in and coming out for each month. I have goosebumps. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I thought, thank you.
That's interesting, because I wanted to ask, if you only do prediction of words, for me this is not intelligence. But what you said, this is something else. This sounds more like intelligence.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a catch, right? It just predicts the next word. That's it, the task is that. The numbers crunching, you feed it a sentence. With that sentence, it will predict the next word. The next word will come there, and we continue that. So the task is of predicting, but you can also ask logic questions. So with math, it's not really good. It's not good with math, because this kind of brain is more similar to ours. So if you ask, what is 17,003 a prime number? It's not good for that. So, yeah, it's a controversial topic, this one.
I had a question about the limitations that you were discussing, and specifically around your experience with programming. Because, for example, I use it for content creation or data analysis, and I can't remember how many times ChatGPT apologized for giving the wrong answer. So I don't know how to work better with it for it to because I say it was wrong, try again. And it's like, okay, I'm sorry, I apologize, this is the correct answer. So I don't know if you had that. I think in programming maybe
Yeah,
it's
sure.
the same. So I don't know how to make it work better for me in the context I'm working in.
So the question is that sometimes when you ask a question, the answer is wrong. Yeah, happened to me many times. Is there a way to get this behavior in a better way? I wish, if you know, tell me, okay? Yeah, so it happens to me too, like I ask a question and then I see, like I'm studying Spanish, so I ask, okay, give me the conjugation of this verb. Actually, it gets it really good, but in some similar things, I see, but you didn't write again that term. Oh, sorry, I didn't. I'm going to do it again, and then it gets it right. It's a statistical machine, and yeah.
But it should not be being deleted. Like if you told him this was the wrong declination of a word, it should actually be able to store this and to do it better next time. But if you open another chat, it will do the same mistake again.
Yeah.
And that's not intelligent, is it?
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you. So you said because of its fixed nature, because the brain is fixed, and every time you open a new chat, you start from a blank slate,
Yeah.
it cannot learn. Yeah, that's true.
So we should not be afraid of it yet.
Yeah,
It
I am
takes-
not
because
afraid of
now-
it
Because now it
yet.
doesn't really learn, so it's not a problem now, but it will definitely open, and it will definitely learn if people say, hey, you did it wrong, and it will store it. I mean, that's the next step, isn't it? I would do it if I was a programmer doing this ChatGPT.
Yeah, but how
I think they are doing it. They might not apply it.
Yeah.
But
they-
it
they're
will
saying-
be hard to know what is the truth. Maybe you doesn't have.
No, but you know, if 10,000 people say, hey, you conjugated this word wrong, you would say,
eventually
okay,
you'll get it.
they were right, so I need to store it.
Yeah, but it's complicated to filter
Yeah, sure.
these cases. Yeah.
So
The moderation. Yeah.
You see online many articles about like ChatGPT predicts the course of Bitcoin or of some stock market, which is cut-off date of 2021. For me, it's not value articles like that. What's your opinion about that?
yeah, I would not trust it even if it had up-to-date data. So if, I can ask, I feel more confident. So the question is it a good thing to ask ChatGPT questions like, how is Bitcoin going in the stock market? So I'm not going to use my time in those questions because I think that it's really more profitable to use it as a source of knowledge and brainstorming and ideas. Maybe I can ask, explain me how Bitcoin works. Not Bitcoin, I know how Bitcoin works. How the market, the economy around Bitcoin works. I don't know how it works, the economy. I know the technology, but not that. I would ask those financial questions. How can I be a better investor? I have assets and I want to make them flourish and I want to do some investment. Please, may ask me any question to better,
No, it doesn't give investment advice or healthcare.
Because of the new, so now we are talking about, is ChatGPT answering healthcare questions, politically incorrect questions? Recently, it got much more strict, not answering. Like I pasted the answer, how can I get my dog high? I usually don't do that, I don't care. But the answer was like irresponsible question. It was very tough. I find it's a better answer. By the way, I thought other questions.
I would like to ask, because the many questions were about how potentially dangerous it is, but I would like to know if there are any studies not about how dangerous it become or it is, but what's the effect on the human brain actually using it every day. Because it definitely has to have, I'm not saying it's bad or good, because I'm using it, and I'm hoping I'm not getting stupid, but I would like to know if there are any brain scans, or if it's just too fresh to know it.
So I don't know of any studies about that, but I have an opinion that I would like to share. Then maybe you can share yours. I heard something on the same line about the GPS. Oh, but if you use the GPS, you are going to lose your capability of orientation. And it may be true at some extent. I don't know, yeah, so...
Because, I study brain a lot, and it's what fire together, it wires together. So it's for me, it's really just curious question, because, for example, ChatGPT, the fourth, is very creative. So, for example, brainstorm, I really like using it for brainstorm, but on the other hand, brainstorm is really creative work that really just turns on different part of the brain that I'm not using so often anymore. I'm not saying I'm not using it, but...
Actually, while you were speaking, I was thinking, the experience with using ChatGPT is like having a brainstorming human partner. It's not human.
It is true. Yeah.
And so, it's enriching,
yeah.
because,
Yeah, it's true. You have to use your brain to
True.
use it.
And actually when it gives you a feedback and you say, oh, this is good, right?
Yeah.
It's better than watching TV, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's it sparks you. Yeah.
So I want to mention two things because of a question. So first, one of the three guys that won the Turing Award says that this kind of machine learning model does not have a future because the task is just predicting the next word. The probability to get it wrong will increase as words are added. And this goes to the doom. And this is one interesting thing, because when it strays from the path of the correct answer, it will not come back. So the same guy that invented very good things, the name is Jan LeCun, one of the three. What he says, he published a paper 1.5 years ago about a new model, and I want to tell you very briefly, because it's really interesting, and it works very differently from how this works. So how this model works in a high level is that you feed training data. We're not going into it. It's the same process of that, actually. But you feed in training data, and then how this model is built can create a representation of the world, like abstract ideas. And this is very good because it will not be perfect as answer if you ask things, because maybe I can send you, if you can contact me by email, and I can send you the picture. So we have a picture of a wolf, and we have a blank spot in the center, so we cannot see the face of this wolf. And we ask this machine learning model, please complete this blank spot. And actually what exists now is that the competition will be color perfect, but this is not perfect. It's black and white, and it's not perfect, but it's, I have goosebumps. It understood, who knows what is really going on, but he put 2 eyes and some fur, and he completed it. It didn't complete the pixels. It completed the idea of the dog. And this is a completely different. By the way, today and tomorrow I'm going to use ChatGPT. It's too good for. But I also am passionate about other things.